세번더 헌세요 스간자과 간이가래 왔어. 이가래 완다과 네네 암과리 한야니. 네네 kahkwa sum'a ariwagi. Ongwaiwanagi. Kanyenkeka. And what that means is, I'm going to teach you some vocabulary words about foods. Very basic. Just so you understand certain foods, as well as the cadences, as well as the sounds that we make in our language. And in this way, you can better train your ears, pick up the sounds. You can better understand where we're coming from as Haudenosaunee people. Now, this book was written by Reg Henry, and so there's a shout out to Reg Henry and the Henry family, without which I would not have started learning, because this was one of my first books. So it's very simple. Right here is kahkwa. Simply put, that's food. There's a whole definition behind what it means, but it's simply put as food. So now, basic. Your salt is deyohyozis. Deyohyozis. And this is deotskarlakowa. Deotskarlakowa. That's pepper, basically. Now we got sugar. Sugar or sweetness or honey or anything that's sweet like that. Otsikeda. Otsikeda. Okay, and then you have a hot mixture. Could be a soup, but there's a specific word for soup. But it's any kind of made thing. And it's called Ohnegagari. Ohnegagari. So now we go into, we got, this is supposed to be bread, I guess. Ganadarum. Ganadarum. And if you have cornbread or original bread, it's ganadarum gungwe. Notice how in unwe, the unwe is the same. Ganadarum is bread, and ganadarum gungwe is original bread or real bread. Then we have, of course, the margarine or butter, whatever you prefer, and we call it owistosara. Owistosara. And so then we come into we got potato. Ohnanada. Ohnanada. And now any kind of meat, meat product or anything to do with meat, other than like bologna or hot dog, real meat I'm talking. It's called ohwarum. Ohwarum. And so then, we have some gravy for our potatoes, and that's called gonyet. Gonyet. Now we have breakfast food, a little bit of eggs. Onhunsa. Onhunsa. Or onhunsa, depending on the cadence and how you say it. And we have milk, which is ononda. Ononda. And then we have some cold water, and cold water or cold liquid is oneganos. Oneganos. And then furthermore, vegetables. You can see all that. Aze sum'a. Aze sum'a. Simply put, it means new things. New things are what we reference as vegetables. So now we have, what's that? The corn. Onaste. Onaste. And we have what's called onaste unwe, which means the original corn, the real corn. And that's specific to the culture. Now we have osaheda, beans. Osaheda. And or you can say osaheda unwe. And those are the real beans that we plant. Not necessarily, you would call the beans you planted osaheda unwe. And osehenda is what you buy in the can. And now we have ono unzera, squash. Ono unzera. And you can also add ono unzera unwe as well as a modifier to mean the original squash or the real squash, or squash is the plant essentially. And then we have onion, which is anu. Anu. And there's a couple different words for tomato. This one is called deohiakanyo. And then the other word for tomato is deohiakahu. And it depends on where you're from, what dialect you speak, whether you use one word or the other. Neither is correct. It's just different usage, that's all. And now we have, everybody loves cucumbers, so we have a specific word for cucumber. Gonna unser lagaras. Gonna unser lagaras. Simply put, it means it has a smell. The squash has a smell to it. And if you ever smell a cucumber, it's got a distinctive smell. So now we say oktela or ohtela. Again, dialectical. Simply put, that's root vegetables or something that grows in the ground. Notice it looks like beets, radishes, as well as carrots or parsnips. Those are all part of the root family, oktela or ohtela, depending on what you say for it. This is asegwe or a segwara. And again, it's dialectical. Some people say asegwe is a pitchfork and a segwara is a small fork. And some people say it's the opposite. It depends on where you're coming from. Really doesn't matter as long as the simple saying asigwa is there. Asegwe, asegure, it's the same thing. This one is a knife. It's osharde. You have to say those H's. Remember to say those H's. Osharde. And that's the same. Now we have your spoon. Adogwa. Adogwa. And if you're familiar with skaksa no sewa dogwatsara, the dish with one spoon, if you heard the term adogwa and sewa dogwatsara, that's where it comes from. And now you have a cup, which is yetnagirda dakwa, or that gets shortened down to yetnagirdakwa. Again, they're modified words, and there's different usages, times that you would use them, and some people never use the full length. They just shorten it down to speak the language. Now we have the plate, and that's agirda. Agirda. And although it means plate, it means anything that's thin and small and round that you put stuff on top of. For example, sometimes I call it a CD, a Gerda CD, or you know, what have you. So our language is very versatile, very adaptable. So now I'm going to say different words of dialogue, examples of how to use these food words. So I'll say, pass the potatoes. Gasa on nanada. Or you can say, dagon o nanada. Or daskon o nanada. Or dedinin sunderlunya. It means complete my arm. Dedinin sunderlunya o nanada. Complete my arm to the potatoes. Our arms are going to reach the potatoes. It's interesting how you use the language, but gatsaf is just a simple command, or dagon means give it to me. And then when you pass the potatoes, you say go. And go means kind of like here you go. Go, as in you're presenting it. There it is, take it. So then you look at somebody else and you have the potatoes in your hand. You want to pass it down the line. You say, "Oh nanada go, oh nanada go," and what that means, it's a question. The go is a question modifier. So when you say "oh nanada go," you're looking at somebody, asking them, "Do you want potatoes?" And if they say okay or they say yes, they say uh-huh, which means it's a good yes. Of course, I want potatoes. Or they say how, okay, I'll have some potatoes. Again, it depends on how you're using the language. And if you want to ask if there's more potatoes, you say Sego ga otnanada. Sego ga otnanada. And sago means still. People use it as a colloquial hello, but it's not quite hello. It means still, as it's still going on, still happening. And ga is the question modifier, and otnanada is potatoes. So sago ga otnanada, are there still potatoes? So you either say yes, uh-huh, or no, which is yah, yah, yah te yodadorno. There is none left. So further, more. If somebody asks, it's a boy, asks for more potatoes, and you have to pass it to somebody in between. You're sitting at a big table, you pass it to somebody else to pass to him. So you say go, datsun. So he asks for potatoes. Sego ga otnanada. And you say yes, there's potatoes. You pass it to the one beside you. You say go, datsun ne otnanada. Here you go, give him the potatoes. And if you're saying give it to her, if there's a female that asks for more potatoes, you say go, daseyo, daseyo. And daseyo means you give it to her, daseyo. So go, daseyo otnanada. Go, here you go, give her the potatoes. And then, is there any more left? You'd say, Sego ga yodadorno. Sego ga yodadorno. And so, hopefully, with that basic understanding of the language, you can practice what it all means. Play the video a few times, become familiar with the language, and one day, you'll learn how to speak in your household the language of our ancestors. Haugi. Sego ga yodadorno ne otnanada. Te wakato kontoni agage. Saha ezo dogatskwato ga yodadorno. Hanya, katsa, dago ne otnanada. Go.